You guys are awesome. Really, you guys are amazing people, really and truly. And I know I travel a lot. You probably say that everywhere, dude. No, this is the only place where I ever got thrown in jail. So, how many of you, do you know my story, by the way, about that? Okay. So this is kind of like a reparation tour that I'm making right now for all my past indiscretions, one of which was being thrown in jail because I was busted shoplifting from Piggly Wiggly. People up north, by the way, don't even think those exist. You people know. But that was many years ago, many years ago. And the Lord has done so many incredible things in my life, things that I never could have imagined, because of the prayers of good people, right? As Father Josh was mentioning, prayer is powerful stuff. And all those prayers that went into my mom, my Monica, my Saint Monica, my dear mom, praying all those rosaries after she had her own conversion. And then, just praying her heart out and suffering with a delinquent, messed up son. All that pain she went through years, it paid off, right? And God brought about an incredible conversion, continues to convert my heart because of those prayers. And tonight I'm going to be focusing specifically on the Rosary. So I'm going to weave some things in and out of my story because we kind of got a themed approach here. So tonight I'm talking about the Rosary. Tomorrow is St. Joseph. Then in Metairie on Wednesday night is my grand conversion story, because that's actually where I got busted and thrown in jail. So had I been thrown in jail in Baton Rouge, you would have got the conversion story tonight. No. So prayer is so powerful, so powerful. And when I was living my delinquent childhood and all those crazy things, people were praying for sinners like me. Right? How many of you, when you go to church and you pray a rosary before Mass or after Mass or your little prayer group or whatever it is, you say, "Oh, Jesus, we pray for the conversion of sinners." You may never see them. You may never see the fruit of your prayers, but it will be there. That prayer has power. And what's amazing is Father Josh had such a great intro tonight, because I didn't know he was going to say what he did about that servant of God, Jan Taranovsky, about the youth minister who helped St. John Paul II. Well, do you know what that youth minister also taught to St. John Paul II? A great love for the daily rosary. St. John Paul II attributes his great love for the rosary, which he himself said was his favorite prayer. That's what St. John Paul said. It was because of that humble introvert, right, that taught him this. The power of the rosary, that it became, his favorite prayer, took it into his priesthood, being a bishop, then to being a pope, and talking about it everywhere. Even giving us a new set of mysteries to pray on that rosary, the luminous mysteries. So I want to unpack that tonight for you. So, because this is powerful. My friends, we are living at a time right now in the world where, my goodness, there's so much anxiety. I have it too, right? I watch the news and I think, my goodness, what's going on over there, right? These poor people, what's happening? When's this going to end? God forbid this ends up in World War III or something. What madness is, just when we thought we got over COVID, right? It's like, dang, couldn't we have had like 2 weeks of peace? Now we've got this. It's a crazy. So there's anxiety, there's fears, there's worry about the future. So many things pressing upon us today. We need peace. We need hope. We need comfort. And the rosary is a huge factor in this. We don't know what the future is with the world, right? We don't know what is going to happen between nations and so forth. Some of the things maybe we can't control, but Our Lady has actually told us in her approved apparitions, the rosary can change history. These things can be halted. We can play a part in altering the future by our prayer. And that's why if you look at whether it's Lourdes or Fatima or all these apparitions, what's the most consistent theme? That our dear mother, right? A sister says, Papa, yes. And we have Mama. And what does our Mama say to us? To her children, pray the rosary. More than any other thing that she says to pray the rosary. I know this myself because if you're familiar with my story, you know I should have brought that picture of me with my long hair. I'm trying to get over my egotism and narcissism of carrying a big picture of myself around the world, right? I only do that because you wouldn't be able to see a wallet-sized one, but you see this creature with long hair, and the state of my soul is just so bad in that picture. When I experienced my conversion, went into the Catholic Church, encountered those 5 Filipino women in that church. Yeah, you remember the story, right? Powerful stuff. They got me praying the Rosary. And that became the antidote to get the poison out of my soul. And it was the gateway to the greatest of all gifts, which was the sacraments, to help someone like me become a Catholic and be able to go to confession and be able to receive Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament, the ultimate medicine for the soul. But without the Rosary being a part of that for me, I'm not so sure it would have happened. See, I had flooded my young developmental years with filthy images that really jacked up my heart and my intentions and my desires. And I suffered so badly from so many of those things for so many years. But then the Rosary took me on a daily pilgrimage. You ever been on a pilgrimage? I love pilgrimages. Oh, I absolutely love them, right? You go to the sacred, sanctifying sites of Jesus and Mary and Joseph. You go to Calvary. You go to Cana, where he transformed the water into wine. You go to all these holy places, and it changes you. Well, that's what you do every day. When you pray the Rosary, you are making a pilgrimage in your mind and in your heart to the sacred, saving sights of Jesus Christ. And you will not be the same. That's why all the great saints say, a challenge, basically. Pray the Rosary and watch what will happen to you. The addictions, the vices that you suffer from, you will see them start to decrease, because that's what happens when you go on a pilgrimage. When you replace all those things in your desires and mind with these holy things. That's what happened to me. That's why I believe that one of the greatest gifts that Our Lady has given to us, her children, because Mama knows best, right? A mother always knows what her children need, is the Rosary. And for all times, but especially, I think, for today, in the crazy times that we're living in. Now, I don't know you, and I'm not like Sister. I'm glad I didn't touch your hand, so you're freaking me out there, Father, right? I'm good. I was actually going to go to confession before I came and saw you, Sister. It was freaking me out, You got nothing on me. I'm clean as a whistle. So, I don't read souls, okay? I don't have that gift. I'm kind of grateful. I pray for you, Sister. That's a tough one to have, So don't worry, I'm not reading into you right now, but I can tell you this. I don't need to read your soul to tell you that you're messed up. You're messed up, all of you. All of us are, me included. I got one of these around my neck now for 20 years, sure, but that doesn't make me better than you, right? I'm still a work in progress. God is working on me, and I praise Him for that. We've all got issues. Your family has got issues. Your marriage has got issues. Your children have got issues. Everybody got issues today. And yet heaven is giving to us the antidote, one of the great ones, the Rosary, to help us in these crazy times. And a lot of people think, for some reason, I don't know, maybe I thought it initially too when I met those little Filipino women 30 years ago, because I meet people like this today. They'll say, Father, how'd you write 7 books on the Rosary? How much more is there to say? Everybody's written about the Rosary. Why are you writing about this so much? Because I think we need to take Our Lady very seriously about what she's offering to us, because it really does bring about tremendous healing and blessing for us. And I'll meet people that'll say, Father, but that's for like grandma. That's what Sister Mary Joseph and, this convent does. Men don't do that. Men don't pray the Rosary. That's not for men. That's for the ladies. Wrong. This is where we're going to do a little history lesson here. This is going to be some cool stuff I almost guarantee you never heard unless you read my books. Who was the Rosary first given to? A dude. A guy. Not a woman. It was given by a woman, our dear Mother Mary, Mama Mary, but she gave it to Saint Dominic, a guy. This backing way up now, 13th century, specifically 1208, when tradition says, this isn't a legend, right? People say, it's a legend. Don't get me upset. I hate that word legend, right? It's a tradition affirmed by so many popes and saints, and even apparitions have affirmed this, Don't have time to go into all those, but there's one in the 1980s in Nicaragua that talks about this. The visionary saw a history of the rosary being given to the world, and it plays out exactly like we have it in tradition. That Our Lady came to a priest who had great skills. He was a great speaker. He was a great orator. He could, preach eloquently. Well, at his time, there was a heresy, which means people promoting falsehoods, having a little bit of the truth, but they really jack it up with these other crazy ideas that they got. And there was one of these in France in the 13th century, and it was the impact that it was having on the people was horrible. People were leaving the Catholic Church because of these false teachings. This priest, Father Dominic, at the time, got permission from his bishop to go into the streets and preach. And he was giving it all, right? He was a great speaker, but it wasn't working. It wasn't bearing fruit, and he was very surprised. And he got kind of dejected by that. Well, tradition says he went into a field, into the woods, and made a retreat, and asked for heavenly aid to help him do what he was not able to accomplish, to win these souls back. Tradition says that's when Our Lady came to him, and she gave him the rosary, Father Dominic, Saint Dominic we know him as now, and she basically told him that this was to be used as a weapon, a battering ram against falsehoods and to win souls back. And the mysteries that she gave him to preach and pray on in the streets were the exact same mysteries that these heretics were attacking. The incarnational mysteries of Christianity. What today we call the joyful, sorrowful, and glorious. And now we have the luminous as well. Interesting how this all played out. Now, here's something that I find fascinating about this, because not a lot of people know about this. This guy's mom, this Father Dominic, when she was pregnant with him, any woman who's going to hear this is going to be freaking out. It's a little strange story, but it's true. When she was pregnant with her child, she had a vision. And in that vision, she saw a dog, freaky, right, entering into the world through her womb with a torch in its mouth, running off into the world to set the world on fire. Now, I'm a dude, right? I don't have babies, but if I was a woman, I'd be like, help, right? That ain't good, right? A dog? What is this? So she didn't make much of it at the time. But after she gave birth to her son, she named her boy Dominic. When that boy ended up becoming a priest, ended up having that vision, Our Lady gave him the rosary. Do you know what he did? He founded a religious community called the Order of Preachers, more commonly known as the Dominicans. In Latin, the play on words goes back to the mother's vision. Dominicanis in Latin. Do you know what it means? The dogs of God. That's the Dominicans. They mean business. And they take the torch of truth, veritas, throughout the world, and they get rid of heresy. That's the Dominicans, right? So that's what Our Lady had given to him in the gift of the rosary. And the impact of it was immediate, off the charts. It started to spread everywhere. And because Our Lady told him it was a weapon, do you know what he started to do? And everybody after him began to follow this. He started to have the rosary as part of his religious habit. Like sisters wearing out, the good sisters are wearing a habit, right? Looks actually very similar to a Dominican habit. I actually asked Sister earlier if she was a Dominican. Sorry, right? So, where did they start to put the rosary? On their left side of their habit. Do you know why? A sword. They saw it as a spiritual sword to slay dragons with. Why would they put it on the left side? Most people are right-handed. Not everybody, right? But most people are right-handed. You take your right hand to unsheath your sword from your left side, to take it out for battle. So they began to wear it on their left side. So that to this day, when you see almost every single religious community that has a religious habit, their rosary is on the left side, not the right. That's why. And I say that because sometimes people today, when I'm giving talks, and I'm going full-blown militant, man. I'm like, the rosary's a weapon. We slay dragons, right? They're like, ooh, Father's aggressive, freaking me out, right? He's like, wow. I'm like, okay, I get it, but this ain't just Father Calloway. This is part of the tradition. Our Lady said it was a weapon. And that's been affirmed by popes and even recent popes and tons of saints and theologians. So this isn't just me saying this because I got a microphone and a captive audience. This is what heaven gave to us to overcome falsehoods, both that are out there, but also the things that creep into us. Vice, sin, addictions, all these things that we struggle with. I had my own, still have many of them and struggle with them. I need to unsheathe that daily weapon and slay this dragon. That's what Our Lady gave to St. Dominic. Now, who would not be thrilled with this? Well, the dragon, right? The devil. Not delighted with the idea that he's going to be getting, his head cut off because he's got 7 heads of the wicked Hydra. Not going to be, into this rosary thing. So do you know what happened shortly after the rosary was given to the world? This is amazing and kind of scary, to be honest with you. Do you know a plague hit Europe? Less than 100 years after Our Lady gave the rosary to St. Dominic. Do you know how many people died in Europe from the Black Death? 1/4 of the population of Europe died. Now, I don't want to freak you out because we just went through COVID and everything, right? But, folks, this stuff happens. You know what the saints describe this as? Yes, there were rats that were infested. There's a natural origin for it on one level. But great saints like St. Louis de Montfort, in the greatest book ever written on the Rosary, The Secret of the Rosary, little tiny book, but what a gem of a book, he said that the Black Plague was the devil's way of trying to get rid of the sword that had been given to humanity because he knew the power. Now we had portable prayer, the Rosary, a Bible on a set of beads. You didn't have to be literate. You didn't have to know languages. You could be a farmer. You could be a housewife making bread, and anybody, from a child to anybody, could pray the Rosary. Portable prayer, Bible on a set of beads. And what is the Bible? The Word of God. And what does it say? Isaiah the prophet says, when the Word of God goes forth, it never returns void. It always bears fruit. The devil knew now, big trouble has arrived in the church with this rosary. I got to get rid of it. And the devil almost succeeded. Almost succeeded. To this day, we don't have one word preserved from the mouth of St. Dominic. Not one. He founded the order of preachers. They talk. Don't have one word preserved from the mouth of St. Dominic. Why? Because all those libraries, all those houses that recorded how the rosary was given to us were burned. Burned in the fires. As nuns and priests were taking care of the sick and the elderly, those places became, infested with the plague and they had to be burned. How many libraries, convents, monasteries had to be burned? Tons. When 1/4 of Europe dies, wow. What happened shortly after that? Well, the plague slowly, eased away, and God began to renew his people. He always did that. He's a good papa, right? He never forgets us. We go through trials and difficulties, but he's always there for us. He began to renew his people and give to different groups new forms of a rosary, like a Byzantine rosary. I don't have the whole time to go into the whole history of these details. You can look it up or get my books. The Byzantine rosary, the Seven Sorrows rosary. Maybe you're familiar with that one. That just got renewed basically lately in Kibeho, Rwanda. Our Lady reminded the children of the importance of the Seven Sorrows rosary of Our Lady. That came into existence in the 14th century, and a whole bunch of other different kinds of rosaries. But what about the original one, the Dominican rosary? Well, this is a story that I love. Absolutely love it. Jesus, Mary, and St. Dominic began to appear to a Dominican priest, Father Alain de la Roche, at this time. Now, Dominicans, if you know anything about Dominicans, they're hardcore. Like, study for them is like the 8th sacrament, right? They are hardcore. You get a good Dominican, watch out, right? They mean business. So they began to appear to him saying, renew the rosary that had been given to St. Dominic. But he was stuck in his books. He was ignoring these heavenly visions. Not good idea, right? Do you know what Jesus said to him, this Dominican, those Dominicanis? He appeared to him on one occasion and said this. This is one of the strongest things you're ever going to hear. Jesus said, the world is filled with ravenous wolves, and you, unfaithful dog, know not how to bark. Woo! I would not want to be on the receiving end of that. right? Jesus called him an unfaithful dog. That could seem harsh, right? But it's not. Why would he say that? Because you're a Dominicanis. You're a dog of God. You're a son of St. Dominic, and you're not barking. You're stuck in your books. Nothing wrong with being academic. You got to know your theology, but you got to be out there bringing the people back. So after that sharp rebuke from Jesus, he kicked it into gear, and he spread the rosary everywhere. He spread the confraternity of the rosary everywhere. Kings were joining the confraternity of the rosary. It was off the charts how quickly the rosary spread all throughout Europe. Do you know what happened after that? There's a battle going on to get this beaded prayer out of the hands of God's people. The devil does not want people to be praying this, but God does. And so the devil is constantly trying to take it out of your hands, and he'll use any means possible. What happened after God renewed the rosary through this priest? Another priest tried to get rid of the rosary. Do you know who this was? Now, I don't want to scandalize anybody, and I'm not slamming anybody in particular here, but this is just historical facts. Do you know who it was? Father Martin Luther, the founder of Protestantism. Seriously, if you're a Protestant, don't freak out running out on me now, right? I'm just giving you the facts here. He was a Catholic priest. There's a whole bunch of things I could go into about that. There's a lot of interesting historical things that most people are not aware of there. But he started to slam this. He said it was stupid. You know what he actually called it? A legend. The first historical critic of the rosary and its tradition was a fallen away Catholic priest, Father Martin Luther, who founded Protestantism. Wow. Now, how can I say this with certitude? Because today in Germany, in the University of Jena, in the library holdings, there's a rosary confraternity book that belonged to Father Martin Luther. All historians know this. The marginal writing in the sidelines is his. Everybody knows this. He called it stupid, a legend, a fairy tale, nonsense. Said it was something that was prayed for no one. Why would he say that? To gain nothing. Why would he say that? Because he was slowly inching away from teachings like purgatory and indulgences and those kind of things. So it's a stupid. Wow. How sad that a Catholic priest, fallen away one, started to attack the rosary. Horrible. That was in the 16th century. Do you know what God did? Because you don't mock Our Lady, and you don't mock the weapon, the rosed weapon that she has given to her children. God raised up a generation of super apostles. That was the century where the great missionaries went out to the ends of the earth, to Central America, South America, to Africa, to India, off to Asia they went, in rickety little boats across the high seas. And when they went, all of them, whether they were Jesuits, Dominicans, Franciscans, Benedictines, whatever they were, what did all of them take with them, wearing it on their side to evangelize the natives? The rosary. And it worked. They didn't initially go there and teach the natives Latin, right? And carry big tomes so they can, no. You'll get there eventually. But this, my friends, if you can teach them the Creed, Our Father, Hail Mary, and the Sacred Saving Mysteries, you're in. And that's, in fact, what they did. But see, now Christianity was divided. If you don't know the history, this is the sad reality. At the time when we had the Protestant so-called Reformation, the split, right? A broken brotherhood, a fractured home. Still believing in Jesus, that's great, but really starting to fracture. That's not good. Who was aware of this and wanted to take advantage of this? Islam. Really, again, I'm not a hater. I'm not an Islam. I'm just telling you the facts of history here. Because everybody today is a hater. I'm just telling you the facts. Homie, read a book, So, Islam said they're divided. Now is the time to strike. Now is the time to take Rome. That's what they wanted to do. Well, they had a great opportunity, several of them. I don't have the time to get into all the history of this, but it's amazing how they tried to conquer Rome. On one occasion, it was like 1565, they amassed an army, and they were going to come and attack Rome by a naval fleet, and they were going around southern Italy, and they knew they had to get this one island called Malta. Remember Malta? St. Paul was stranded there, his ship broke down, snake bit him and all that. Malta, little rinky-dink island, just south of Italy. But they thought, well, we got to get that because we can't get around that. So we got to take that island in order to get to Rome. So there was, I think, it was something like 30,000 Muslim soldiers were going to take it. There were about 7,000 men who were going to defend the island, and these men were not trained in battle and all that. The leader of the army, Captain Jean Parissot, he went to a blacksmith in total panic, and he said, "Make me a sword and put on the blade a rosary," because he knew this was primarily a spiritual battle, not so much a battle between men, but a battle between, God and the devil, the truth and falsehood, light and darkness. And they held off the Muslims, 30,000 of them. They never conquered the island, therefore they never got to Rome. 1565, that was. The Muslims at the time, Ottoman Turks, right? Whenever you hear that, that means Muslim, right? Everybody wants to PC it these days. Ottoman Turks, a.k.a. Muslims. They were not happy about this defeat, that they couldn't get that island to get Rome. They went back and they amassed a gargantuan naval fleet, a massive naval fleet, skilled. My goodness, they were ready for battle. And the Pope at that time knew we're in big trouble. The Western civilization is totally under threat right now. If they come and conquer us, we're gone. We're gone. Who was this Pope? Pope St. Pius V. Do you know what he was? A dog of God. Yeah, baby. A Dominican. A son of St. Dominic. So what did he do? He amassed an army. The Pope formed an army. I love that kind of stuff, right? We'll dialogue about it later, homie. We're going to form an army right now, right? He literally called a militia of men to defend Christianity, to defend your homes, your wives, your daughters against the invaders who would do horrible things with your wife and daughter. So man up and get a sword. That's what he said. And he blessed them, and he gave them a plenary indulgence if you went to defend Christianity. And they went off. And all the men were given a rosary. And they prayed it. And at a bay near Greece, in the place called Lepanto, it's called something different today, Western civilization was saved. And from everybody in Christendom at that time, from the Pope to the people in the pews, knew that it was primarily because of this. That's why we have the Feast of Our Lady of the Rosary on October 7th. This is amazing stuff, my friends. The only reason that you are not a Muslim today and reading from the Quran and facing towards Mecca when you pray is because of that decisive battle that saved Western civilization from Islamic takeover. Every true historian knows this. Ain't Father Calloway being mean. This is the facts because of this. And this has happened time after time in different countries. If you're from Colombia or Brazil or the Philippines or Austria, boy, they could use it again, or many other countries, some dictator, some ideological lunatic tries to take over your country with some form of socialism, communism, some kind of ism, and the people rise up and pray the rosary and hold it off and win the victory. I can't tell you how many times that this has happened in human history. All you got to do is look in your roots, and I guarantee you will find it somewhere. Whatever you come from back, in the old motherland, back in Europe, this is in you. I guarantee it. This thing is a history changer. It alters things. It changes. That's amazing, my friends. So, after that happened, God did amazing. And we're so blessed here in the United States to have some of these gifts that were given to us. Did you know that in the 17th century, so the 1600s, on the other side of the country, in what is today New Mexico, there was a tribe of Indians, Humano Indians. They were small. They're not even in existence today. There was a tribe of Indians that when the missionaries came up through Mexico, they came upon these Indians who no missionaries had been there yet. You can look all this stuff up. I'm telling you the truth. It's amazing. It was written down in those days, even in the secular journals, because all the missionaries back then kept these journals, and they would send them back not only to church leaders, but to the king and queen of Spain, to Isabella and all the others, Portugal. Because this was an endeavor for your country as well. They came upon this tribe of Indians who already knew the Catholic faith. And they said to them, "Who beat us here?" He said, "No, none have. The lady in blue who has been coming to us has told us you were coming, and she already told us about the sacraments, that you would give us baptism, confession." And they thought immediately, maybe like you're thinking now, What a blessing. The woman in blue, she came to them in apparitions to teach the natives. No, it wasn't. And the missionaries were just as confounded, like, wait, then who was it? Certainly it had to be Our Lady. They said, no, we know who the Virgin Mary is because the woman in blue told us about her. Really? Then who is she? Check this out. You know what these Indians also had in their hands and in their possession when the missionaries arrived? Rosaries. They already knew how to pray the rosary before the missionaries arrived. So as the missionaries are confounded, and the Indians don't know who this woman was, they're writing back to Spain. You're not going to believe what we've encountered, da-da-da-da-da. Years go by. There was a mystic, a famed mystic in Spain, a nun, who received mystical visions and could what's called bilocate. Do you know what that is? I super wish I could do that. I'd be so into sipping a margarita Mai Tai on a beach, waiting for the waves to come in. And that'd be, Padre Pio wouldn't do that, but I would, right? So God will allow like holy people to be in multiple. Padre Pio, St. Faustina, St. Caterina, tons of saints this has happened with. This sister was being transported by God to a people she didn't know, evangelizing them, giving them the faith, and her convent made rosaries. So she took the extra ones and gave them to these people. All this is documented even in the secular journals of the time. Amazing. You know what happened after that? Remember, the battle is going on. God is trying to impress us with, this is really important. The devil is saying, no, it isn't. Priests began to mock the rosary again. Horrible, right? And they started to say, it's not true, it's not that important, blah, 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 right? Do you know what God did? Remember in the scriptures it says that if you don't give witness, he will make the... Do you know what happened in the 18th century in Colombia, South America? If you have not heard this, I'm about to blow your mind with this. And you can Google this tonight and look it up and see the image. Prepare. You're familiar with the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, the miraculous selfie Our Lady took and left in Mexico City, right? I wish I could say I'm the originator. Scott Hahn told me that once, said, that's brilliant, I'm using it. Well, before that or after that happened, but not as well known, in a village in Colombia that had already been evangelized, they were Catholic, this village. This mother, her husband had already deceased. A mother and daughter, the daughter had serious health issues. She was deaf, she was blind, she couldn't speak, she had serious health issues. The daughter and mother one day go outside of the village to gather things. I believe it was like sticks and stuff for a fire. They take refuge in this like huge slate. They take refuge there, and they see, or the mother does, the daughter, she wasn't fully blind, but she couldn't perceive everything. The mom immediately knows who it is. It's the Virgin Mary holding the Christ child. And she's thinking, I want to tell everybody. I want to go back and tell the village. And she contemplated doing that, but she thought they're going to think that she's crazy, right? And the daughter's really not going to be able to back her up, So she kept it to herself. They would go there to pray, go there to just spend time. Never saw this vision again. Then, because the daughter's health was so bad, the daughter died, dead. They are starting the funeral mass in the village. The mass is about to start. The mother in a panic gets the dead daughter. Everybody knew that girl was dead. In her arms. And everybody's thinking, oh, she's having a moment, why can't even imagine. The mother takes her dead daughter to the cliff, prays. The girl comes back to life. Now she can see, she can hear. They go back to the village, and the mother and the daughter are just telling everyone, we saw her. We saw the Virgin with the Christ child. Us priests are always a little slow, right? We're like, we'll be there in a minute. The whole village runs to the cliff. When they get there, they see a huge paint, life-size, like 6 foot, as big as I am right now. Clear, super clear, with brilliant, beautiful colors. Now, I need to say this because sometimes people come up to me with Polaroids and like, Father, do you see it, Father? Right? I'm like, homie, it's a bug. It flew in front of your camera. I don't want to ruin your day. But, I mean, maybe it's a gift for you. It's a gift for you, right? I don't know. But most times, bro, it's lighting or something. It's a bug, homie. Anyway. So this isn't one of those 6 foot tall. The colors are just radiant. It's the Virgin holding the Christ child. On the right side is Saint Dominic, and Our Lady is giving a. Remember, the priests are starting to ridicule this again. God's going to put it in stone. The rocks are going to cry out, right? On the other side is Saint Francis receiving a friar's cord from the child Jesus. Now, the priests show up, and they're like, who painted this? This is amazing. Did you do this? Nobody said they painted it. Time goes by. People start to go there on like pilgrimage. People being people. I probably would have done the same thing. Take a little chip, right? Take a little souvenir back home with me, People being people, right? But you know what? Even though they took a little piece and it went a little bit deeper, the colors were still there. It wasn't like there was a piece missing from a puzzle. No, it was still there just a little deeper. That's interesting. People being people, some people, probably teenagers, because I probably would have been stupid to do something like this too. Right? No offense if there are any teenagers here tonight, right? People tried to smear it. Tried to actually mess it up. It didn't smear. What are we dealing with here? Geologists bored into the cliff. Well, do you know what they discovered? There's no paint. 6 foot image of Our Lady, just as clear as you're seeing me right now. The image is the rock. Science, to this day, every field of science has zero Our Lady of Las Lajas, it's called. Lajas in Colombian Spanish means like slate. Wow. St. John Paul II talked about it during his pontificate. It's a minor basilica now. It looks like something out of Lord of the Rings. It's over this big canyon. It looks epic. It looks so amazing, right? You see a pterodactyl flying around the corner. This looks prehistoric, It's amazing. It's there. Not a lot of people jumping on a plane to go to Colombia these days, right? But it's there. I want to go one of these days. And almost nobody knows about it. At least 3 foot deep image in all brilliant colors that's absolutely mind-blowing. What happened after that? Incredible things. Heaven gave, where the birthplace of the Rosary took place in France, what happened? Our Lady came again to Lourdes, to a little girl named Bernadette Subaru. Our Lady had the Rosary, and Our Lady prayed parts of the Rosary with little Bernadette. That's amazing. She can't pray all of it because Our Lady's not she doesn't ask for the forgiveness of sins, but she prayed the part she could with little Bernadette. That started a Rosary revolution. Then we had a Pope, Leo XIII. No Pope has even come close to writing that much. He said the Rosary is what will heal the ills of society. It will restore the family. And it spread everywhere to the point of, right after his pontificate, who came again from heaven to tell us about the Rosary? Our Lady of Fatima. But did you know that's actually not what she called herself? We call it that. How did she identify herself when the children asked her who she was? I am the Lady of the Rosary, she said. The Fatima apparitions are actually apparitions of Our Lady of the Rosary, Mama Mary. She told him to pray it. It can stop the war. It can change history. And you need to do it daily. And a whole bunch of other things with it, right? The 5 First Saturdays. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. And then you get so many saints and incredible figures, too many to go into here, in the 20th century who talk about the Rosary. And then we get the great St. John Paul II, who, as a young boy, learned, yes, but also from that pious servant of God, his youth minister in that parish there, becomes priest, bishop, then the Pope. 2 weeks into his papacy, he tells the whole world, coming out of the craziness, the insanity of the 60s and 70s. I don't want to scandalize you, but these things are historically true and verifiable. I've heard it from older priests. They were forbidden. No wonder the dragon was having a field day. Who slays a dragon without a sword? When you shelve your weapon, you're toast. And then John Paul II comes on the scene. He says, this is my favorite prayer. And all the liberals are freaking out. No! We tried to get rid of it, And now he's saying this, his Polish pious devotion. Thank God for his Polish pious devotion. And when newlyweds came to Rome, to get the blessing of the Pope, what did the Pope give to them? The Rosary. When he went to World Youth Days, what did he tell the young people? Young priests, pray the Rosary. It's the antidote to get the poison out. And he's such an awesome Pope. Man, those were the glory days, man. That's when I became Catholic. That was such an amazing time. He gave us even a new set of mysteries. And he's actually not the founder of the luminous mysteries. I don't have time to go into that either. It's actually a priest from Malta. St. George Precca in the 1950s came up with the luminous mysteries. John Paul II loved them so much that over time, and why? Because I meet people on occasion, great people, right? But they're like, oh, no, I don't pray those mysteries. I stick with the traditional 15. I'm like, look, I get it, homie. All right, I get it. You ain't going to get more traditional than me, okay? I'm all about that stuff. But this is a gift for our times, right? It's an option, too. You're not obligated to pray the luminous mysteries, but don't be hating on it, right? Why would we be given these 5 in our day? John Paul II basically took the ancient sword of the Rosary and transformed it into a lightsaber, right? To combat the darkness of our times. Think about it. When Our Lady gave the original 15 to St. Dominic, there were certain things that were not under threat. But today they are. What are they? The baptism of Jesus, the first luminous. Of all the things you could pick out of the Bible, why would you focus on that? How many people are not baptizing their kids today? Tons. Tons. I wasn't baptized till I was 10, and even then it didn't even matter to my parents. They didn't take any photos or invite any relatives. They just wanted the certificate to shut the grandparents. That's how glorious my baptism was, right? I meet so many people today. I'm sure Father does too. Oh no, I'm going to wait till they grow up and they can make that very important life decision for themselves. That's horrible parenting 101, right? You're going to let them feed dead, okay? They can't. You need to feed them. It's how we got to feed their body. You also got to feed their soul. This is the gateway to the greatest sacrament, Jesus in the Eucharist. You got to do this for them. You need to live the faith for them by example. I mean, so many people are not baptizing their children today. It's crazy. I cannot tell you how many people come up to say, Father, pray for my son because they're having a baby, their grandson, their granddaughter, they're not going to baptize them. So many, guys. We've got to get back to this. This is a humdinger right here, my friends. The wedding feast of Cana. Even the heretics knew that it was between one man and one woman. Okay? But not today. Not today. Today, everybody thinks you can marry anybody you want to. Dude can marry another dude. Girl can marry another girl. Look, we're all weak, broke, wounded. We got crosses to carry. All of us. I would scandalize you if I told you the ones I still struggle with. I'm a sinner, man. Put my pants on just like you. But there's right and wrong. There's truth and falsehood. There's light and darkness. We have got to get back to God's desire and intention for one man, one woman. We've got to correct this. And when you pray that second luminous mystery, you're also making reparation. This is everywhere today. It's saturated in the education system. It is in everything. In everything. My friends, this is why we've been given this mystery in our times. The third luminous mystery, the proclamation of the kingdom and call to conversion. Because today people think that Jesus is the same as Buddha or Muhammad Or Taoism, Shintoism, or some dude in Sedona, Arizona putting a hot rock on his belly button trying to find nirvana, you know? He ain't a guru. We need to be converted. So many people today just think everybody goes to heaven. It doesn't really matter what you do, what religion. That's not true. I'm not condemning anybody who's in another one, right? That's between them and God and how it worked out in the family history and that's God stuff, right? But Jesus is the only. And I'm not saying that anybody who's not Catholic doesn't go to heaven. Of course not. We leave that stuff up to God. He is the way, the truth, and the life. And there is no other. He is not the equivalent of Muhammad. He is not. No. And that's another reason. The transfiguration, to show this to us in His glory. And He veiled it for us because we would be dazzled by it. We couldn't even barely look at Him to see Him in His glory. He's not just some prophet. He is that. My friends, when you realize that, it changes everything for you. So many people that I meet, even Catholics, they don't understand this. They think it was just some important teacher that I can sit around and sing. No. Don't even get me started on that one, right? And then the last luminous mystery. The last luminous mystery. This one breaks my heart to say as a priest, as I'm sure it does Father Josh. The Eucharist, the institution of the Eucharist. My friends, 2019, a survey was taken in North America. Right? What was the survey? How many Catholics believe that Jesus Christ is truly present, body, blood, soul, and divinity in Holy... Do you know what it showed? Oh my... I think it was 71%. 70% of Catholics no longer believe that Jesus is truly present in Holy Communion. What happened? How did we get to this point? This is source and summit. If we don't believe in Jesus, what am I doing? I didn't sign up to this to be a celibate social worker. I'd be a total loser, right? I didn't give up a beautiful wife to be a celibate. I gave up that gift to save souls through the only way to the Father. He who said, unless you eat my flesh. We've got to get back to this core teaching. This is what it's all about. I pray that I haven't scandalized you tonight by some of the things that I've said. It wasn't my intention. But I need to sting. I'm a fisherman, right? Catching fish, got to put a hook in you. Mm-hmm. You can fight, that's cool. Fishermen are used to that. Y'all fish around here, you got a lot of water, right? They go deep. They go try and get away from that boat. Where are you going? You ain't going nowhere. You can wear yourself out. Mm-hmm. You just wear yourself out. And then I'll just flip over. We're going to take you to the shores of paradise. Relax, okay? Relax. All souls fight, struggle, it's normal. But we've got to surrender. And that's why I think today, in these crazy, anxiety-filled, stressed-out times, we need to remember this. And I know it's not easy. Trust me. I'm a priest, I'm 3 Hail Marys deep, and I'm already thinking about what's for dinner. Did I respond to that email? I'm all over the place. I have never prayed a perfect rosary. And that's okay. That's okay. I don't think anybody but Padre Pio cranked out perfect rosaries, okay? St. Therese of Lisieux didn't. Everybody loves a little flower. She said it in her famous autobiography. She struggled with it. She would be annoyed by the sister rattling her beads over there. That happens to me. I'm like, homie. Or I get upset when people are, hey, I made a photo, like, slow down, sold to the highest bidder. Why are you talking so fast? You see that? Yeah. Or the molasses. Thy womb. Jesus. It's like, why? Are you off your meds today? I mean, what's up, right? Normal. I meet so many weird, jacked up rosary prayers. I'm like, all right, stop, cut. Right? Or I'm really freaking y'all out, okay? Normal. And we got to pray normal rosaries, okay? At a normal human pace. What's the road sign say? Speed kills. Slow down, right? And be normal with it. If we return to these things by ourselves, right? When you're praying it by yourself, sure, you can go your own rate or whatever. But in a group, it needs to be a group prayer. One voice, one volume. Why are you so high, homie, right? Calm down, right? Normal, okay? If we regain this, as Pope Leo XIII said and so many saints said, we can overturn this thing in Ukraine. We can overturn all the ideologues, all the crazy leaders in the world, all the stuff that's going on in the church, if we just come back to this. Has our mother not told us this? She knows. Of all the things that she could have been telling us, she tells us to pray the rosary. So that's my challenge for you for this evening and for the future. 20 minutes a day, a well-prayed rosary. You walk your dog longer than 20 minutes sometime. You're in the bathroom. You can give God. And if you doze off, if you get confused, if you it happens to the saints. Butterfly, and his little girl is so distracted, right? As little girls and boys are, but little pecks on the cheek here and there, right? Or to mom. God will take all the butterfly kisses he can get from his distracted. Don't quit. And if you got to do it on your drive to work, fine. That's fine. Do it. I do this as well when I'm driving. I'm driving, so I know I got 20 minutes, I'll crank out a rosary. Is it the most focused, well-meditated rosary? But I do it because I love God. You're good people down here, man. As I'm saying, I wish I was an honorary Acadian. Is that how you say it? Cajun. Cajun now, are we? Okay, I'm a Cajun. All right. So what's the difference? What's a Cajun and an Acadian? That's a story for later? All right. Oh, the Acadian's the one that came down got kicked out of some other country or something? All right. I'll learn all your history, all right? All right. I'm going to pray for you, good people, because you people are doing amazing things. Look what happened last year in Louisiana with this state that now, May 1st, in the state of Louisiana, is dedicated to St. Joseph. Senator Fred Mills and Jen here did incredible things. Look at this. The love that you people have for Our Lady and for St. Joseph and for the good that is going to come out of this play and the songs from Evangeline is going to be incredible. You need to renew the faith here among your families, among your people, and give hope back. I love you people, and I pray for you. And please pray for me as well, because I want to cross that finish line, baby. I want to enter into the glory of paradise. And up there we can eat some. God bless you guys.